Hello, I'm Carlos Garcia and I am a Taxdome certified consultant. And today I want to go over how to set up your Taxdome workflows and pipelines, specifically your bookkeeping pipeline and your tax pipeline. This video is a continuation of a 2023 Taxdome full demo video that I did with Hector Garcia, who happens to have a YouTube channel and focuses on helping accounting firms with QuickBooks, but as well as other technologies so they can be more efficient and effective. Let's get started with the bookkeeping pipeline. So typically when you go into Taxdome, you'll see that you have a workflow menu, but before you start a brand new pipeline, you can start creating a new pipeline by just clicking on Create New Pipeline here. You can name it. You could also choose who you want to make it available to if you're part of a team. You can sort your jobs in different types of fields here. And you could also build job templates. We'll go into job templates in just a little bit and how beneficial those things are. One other aspect of building your pipeline is you could have the pipeline display specific items that you want to be able to visually see on your pipeline view. So if your firm goes by account ID, or you want to see what kind of tags this customer has, the name of the actual job, the description, priority start, due date, and who it's assigned to. Down here, you'll see all of the stages that you can build. So you can build as many stages as you want. It is a Kanban style menu, and you can move left and right, delete. You could also put them either on auto move or not. Putting it on auto move allows you to already automatically move it to the next stage when the automations have been fulfilled. We'll talk about automations in just a little bit, but just going over some of the basics. Another piece you want to know about is what kind of recurrence you want to set up. So in the example that we're going to build a bookkeeping pipeline. Let's say you want to do a monthly repetition. So you can create a repeat period of every month. And you can also choose when you want the start date to be. Since we are in the month of October, let's just pretend for a moment that we want to start the pipeline, the 6th or the 5th of every month. And what will happen is whatever clients you add to that pipeline, it will add a new recurrence every single time. So you'll have the same client added to the pipeline the 6th of every month in this particular occasion. So this is how you build a pipeline from scratch. Now, what we can also do, so you could save the time of having to build stage names, is Taxdome has a wonderful library of templates that you can already leverage. So one of the things that you can do is by going into settings, and in this case, you click on pipelines. We're going to go ahead and get out of that menu. And in here, you can click on copy from library. So once you click on copy from library, you have a library of already pre-made templates that you can leverage. And one thing I really like about that is that at least you get a lot of the work done for you. Now, just a quick little trick that you could see that there are a lot of different types of pipelines available in the library. And it'll actually tell you in what language they're available. So if you want to look at anything that is US based, one thing you could do on the top if you're using Chrome is just click on either Control F, or you could just click on Find. And I usually like to either type US, and then it'll kind of take me to what are some things that are available that are in English language and more US-based type of pipelines. So in this case, if we're going to do a bookkeeping pipeline, we can copy it from the library, and it will actually copy the stages, the pre-made automations, and then from there you have a skeleton that you can build out of, and then you could start modifying. Since in this scenario, I've already copied a few of them, we're just going to go ahead and tap in to a workflow that I leverage so that if you all are interested in kind of using some of these ideas, you could. So let's dive into that. All right, great. So typically in a bookkeeping pipeline, you all can have a whole lot of different stages, but this is somewhat the most common stages and steps that take place in a bookkeeping pipeline. So here we have several stages. First, we have document collection. This is where you would send either a monthly email to your client saying, hey, it's that time of the month. I would like to get your documents A, B, and C so we could start opening your books and doing the actual bookkeeping. Then the next thing is once you confirm that all the documents have been collected, Then the next natural stage is for you or a junior bookkeeper or someone else in your team to do the data entry, categorization. And then, of course, if there are specific transactions that you need to ask your client, hey, what does this mean? What is this supposed to be categorized under? Then you can go ahead and clarify some of that stuff. When you're done with this stage, then you would typically reconcile it. In some cases, you might have a second set of eyes or someone review it. Then you would complete and finalize the reports and send it to the client, and the cycle of that bookkeeping specific period is completed. Now, if you want to change that, you could. Some of you have other processes that are involved. You could easily just click on edit, take it to the editing menu, and then you can create, add stage wherever you feel it belongs. You could actually move it and go ahead and insert what you think that extra step would look like. But for the benefit of this specific exercise, we're just going to go ahead and use this specific template. As I mentioned to you before, we're going to have a monthly recurrence. We've decided that's going to be the first of the month. I've also decided to only display the name of the job, what it means, what level of priority it is, when is it due, and who is it assigned to. You could customize this as you wish. Now, job templates. Let's kind of dive in here for a moment. What's really cool about job templates, you can default a specific job template, and it'll save you some time, because when we go into templates, you're going to click on settings. Here in templates, you can modify everything that you want. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new tab so that we could stay in the editing menu. And when you go to job templates, what it basically does, it just allows you to pre-fill what kind of data you want to put in there. So I really love this piece, because let's just say that I'm going to do a monthly bookkeeping, but in this scenario, I have two teams. I have team A and I have team B. So it allows me to differentiate if a specific set of clients should belong to team A. Then I want the name of the job to be, and I'm going to just short code some of this, MOBK. And what's really nice is you could also short code the time period. So if we are in the month of October and I'm going to add the job, for this month, I am clearly doing bookkeeping for the last month. So what I can do here is I could say, I'm going to focus on monthly bookkeeping for the last month. And I could also indicate that it's going to be a team A job. And if that's the case, I could also choose who is going to be assigned to that job if it's a team A. The scenario, I'm going to assign it to myself. I could also create a level of priority if I feel like maybe the team A clients are more like tier 1 clients. We'll call these urgent, right? So we want to get these done as quick as possible. And then I could also create a default due date. So in this case, let's just say that we want these jobs done within 10 days. So now that I've created that pipeline, that specific job template, I can go ahead and do the same, but this time I'm just duplicating the same template to save me time. And this time I'm going to call this one Team B. And all I really am changing is just the name of the template. I'm also changing the name of the job so that I can see it visually when it gets added to the pipeline. And then let's just say that Team B is more of a medium priority. They're kind of like tier 2 clients. They're not paying any premiums to get this done any faster. So rather than making it a 10-day due date, we'll make it a 20-day due date. So we can wait until the end of the month to finish this work for them. So being able to differentiate specific jobs and job templates will allow you to distinguish prioritization and delegation and all that good stuff. So going back into the editing menu here, now that we have that job available, I can choose to make a default job template Team A or Team B, or I could just leave it blank. And when the job gets added, I can determine that job template. Without selecting a specific job template, then you have to manually enter all of that information every single time you start the project. So the job template allows you to pre-fill the data and it saves you time. So that's basically the point of that. So let's actually take a look at what would look like when we add a job with a job template. I'm gonna actually just go ahead and delete all of these existing jobs so that we don't get confused here. I can select one job card this way and delete it right here on the top of the menu, or I can select all of them at once and also delete them. In this scenario, I'm actually going to archive them, which means they're just going to be inactive. They'll stay in the pipeline, but they will be inactive. So I can archive them right here. And if anything, I can always make them active again. So let's go ahead and do that. We've got a clean pipeline. So there are two ways you can add a job or a project onto the pipeline. The first way is right here where it says add job. So we can just click right here and it'll take us to the job menu. Who do we want to add? So on and so forth. And so let's take a look at that. That's one way to do it. But before we add that, let me show you the second way to do it. Right here in the top left of the blue bar, you'll see where it says plus new. You can click right on that. And you can click on add job right here from the bottom. It sort of looks a little bit different. And we'll just show you that it'll also take you to the add job menu. So either way works. I don't really care, but I really like this one because it just gives you a side menu and it keeps you in the same screen. So choose whatever is easier for you. And I'm going to select ABC Company, which is one of our test accounts. And so here it's actually asking me what template do I want to use. So now that I've picked my pre-made template, you'll see that everything is pre-filled. Even who gets assigned to the job gets pre-filled. So this is the part that gets really, really cool. So when I add the actual job, by the way, we haven't talked about automations yet. I just want to show you what it looks like when you add a job using a job template. So there you have it. As you can see, it says MOBK, and then you see the pre-fill of the last month, and it indicates the name of the team. And because in the editing menu, I chose to turn on all of these little buttons, I know that it's who it's assigned to. I know that it's due in 20 days. I know that it's urgent, and I know the name of the job. So if this client gets added next month, and let's say this one in particular is in send reports, next time this gets added, you'll see the same job card, which is this little rectangle white box here. It'll be right in the beginning of the pipeline, but instead of saying monthly bookkeeping September, it'll say monthly bookkeeping October, and so on and so forth. So you'll be able to keep track of each of your projects as they come and go. Now there's a different way to view these jobs, not have to be visually through the Kanban, because this can get pretty busy, especially if you have over 20, 30, 40 bookkeeping projects at any given month. So you could also go to the top here where you've got the job menu. So if you click on the top where it says job menu, you can also see a list view of all of your jobs. So I'm going to go ahead and filter that by specific pipeline. And there you have it. And if you all remember, when we took off all of those jobs before, they were active, but I made them inactive. You can actually click in the sub menu where it says archived, and here they are. So you've got all of these folks hanging out over here in the inactive menu. And I can go ahead and make those active all over again. And what will happen is they will show on the job pipeline menu and also in the job list menu. So now you'll know how long have these been in the pipeline, when are their preset due dates. If you don't have a template or if you don't set a due date, it won't have one. What stage are they in? Which client are we talking about? Which pipeline does it belong to? Who is it assigned to? And so we have those two views. Again, as your list becomes a little bit more busy, then you can choose to either pull it in a list view or a visual view. I prefer the visual view because what's nice is you could stay all in the same screen and you can click on each of these job cards. What will happen is you'll have a job card populate, which gives you just a log of all of the activities that are happening. You can chat inside of each project, and in here you can talk to each other. You can mention other team members, which is really nice. And so now you can have context and reference of what's going on in each of the projects. So that's where we are as far as what is a job, what is the job card. We'll keep on chugging along here as we go, how to add a job to the pipeline, how to edit the menu of the pipeline. Now let's talk about automations. Okay, so if you want your pipeline to be automated, one of the best practices I always recommend is to turn on auto move on every stage, except the last one. The last stage does not have an auto move because if it does, it would create another stage for you. The last stage is basically for you to either archive the job or move it somewhere else. Ideally, the best practice is for you to archive it so you can have a record of all of your completed jobs. And this is how you go back for auditing purposes, for reference, in case you need context as you're working on your current jobs, what is happening on your previous jobs. So let's talk about the first automation that you can add into this particular pipeline. So I would normally recommend, if you think about it, in your first stage, what do you usually do? You either want to send an email to the client saying, hey, we need your statements. And the second thing could be creating a task either for yourself or for whoever's responsible for that particular action at that given point of the project. So let's start with adding a email automation. And if you don't have an email template pre-built, then here's where you can create your email template, or you can go into settings on the bottom left here and go to templates and create a email template. So click, 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 create your template, or again, you can use the library to do that. In this scenario, I think we may have a pre-built template and it just says monthly bookkeeping statement request. If I want to see what that template looks like, I could just go to settings, templates, emails, and again, as a shortcut, I'm just going to look for my monthly bookkeeping statement request email. There you go. Hello, account name. As we're starting the new month, please provide the statements for blank. So maybe if I don't want to put the account name, sometimes you have like a first and last name or a business name, it doesn't feel personable. I can actually just say hello first name. So if you are on a first name basis with your client, you can say hello John, hello Carlos, whatever, and it'll pre-fill whatever you have in the CRM field for that client's profile. So there you go. I just modified that template and that's what will happen. It's already pre-built into this automation. All right, so we've got the first automation, which is the client's going to receive a monthly reminder. And remember, if we are on a monthly recurrence, it'll be every first of the month. They're going to get this automated email. The next automation is we're going to just create a task. Oops. We're going to go ahead and add an automation again. And we're going to create a task. And let's just say it's document collection. Let's say we have that in here. Okay, we're going to call this one the monthly bookkeeping task. I could always change this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So this is called EN bookkeeping, monthly bookkeeping. It's one of those default ones that Taxdome has for us. So let's go ahead and find it and quickly change it. All right, so I'm going to just change all this stuff. This is quite a lot, right? So right here, this is basically the whole cycle in once. So let's go ahead and change it. So if you're in the task template, you can change it. You can build your own. But when you're building a task template, you can pre-build what you want the status to be. So we can call this in progress. Again, depending on the type of priority for the task, you can set a priority that could always be changed. And then you can create a who is assigned to the task. Remember, the job is the entire project. The task is just the action that needs to be taken at that particular time. What is the action that we need is we want to verify that all bank statements are uploaded. Or we could just call it doc request complete. However you want to do it. You can modify this as much as you want. You want the title to be fairly short so that it's easy to read. Now, from the day that they get the email, maybe let's give it 3 days before we get everything uploaded to have a check-in right there. Now, if you want, you could also add a subtask. I like to say, mark this completed once all docs are received. Usually a nice little reminder of what the heck does this task mean. So we save that task. We're going to go ahead and add it one more time. And let's see if we now see the new title of it, Document Request Completed. So there you have it. Now you have 2 automations when you add a job to the pipeline. Okay, so we're going to save that. And now, as you can see, a little lightning bolt just popped up, and it's got a little number that says 2. What does that mean? It's basically that this particular stage has 2 automations programmed, and they are the ones that we just built out. So one thing you're going to notice in your pipeline is every time there's a little lightning bolt that is activated and there's a number, it just tells you how many automations have you built. Now, one thing about automations you want to know, you can build as many as you want in the stage. They're not actually being done in a sequence, in an order. When they are done in a stage, these automations happen all simultaneously. So if you're going to have 2 or 3 emails in one automation, the client's going to get 2 to 3 emails all in one shot. So you just want to be very careful with that. Now let's add a job and let's see how the automations put into work. So let's start with our ABC company. In this case, I am adding it manually, but if I wanted to add it into the recurrence, let's actually review that real quick. So because we know that this pipeline is going to be in a recurrence, I'm going to click on Manage Recurrence on the top right in the pipeline menu. And you can see that some of these clients are already added to the recurrence, but we're going to add a new job recurrence. And in this case, it's going to be ABC Company. Now, one thing I really love about this pipeline is that you can actually create a custom recurrence and a custom job template. This is where the job templates really come into play, because you can say, for this client, that's going to be part of Team A. But maybe Bumblebee Man is actually, we're going to modify that recurrence, and we're going to put this one in monthly recurrence Team B. So what's really cool is you can customize what you want the default team for each client. The other thing that you could do is you could also customize the recurrence. So your bookkeeping pipeline can have monthly, annual, quarterly, all into one pipeline. You don't have to build a separate pipeline. And that is a wonderful 2023 feature that recently came out. Okay. In this scenario, we're actually going to remove them from the recurrence just for the purposes of this exercise. So there's not too much going on, and we're going to manually add them into the pipeline. All right, so as I do that, I'm going to choose what job template I want to give them. In this case, this is going to be a Team A client. You could see all of the things have pre-filled, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. The last thing that it will do is it's going to give me a confirmation menu, and it's going to say, hey, do you want to send an email for this? And it says, hey, there are no linked contacts with Notify turned on. We'll go ahead and fix that real quick. So let's find ABC Company. And in order for the client to be able to receive emails, you have to turn on the Notify button and the email sync. Easy fix. I love it when problems happen, because then I can show you how to solve them. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the job one more time. There you go. And we're adding them to Team A. Now, voila, you could see that there are no longer any issues because I've turned on that Notify button in the contact section. And then now it's just a confirmation menu. Hey, these 2 things are going to show up as an automation. Do you want to move it? Sure. So now that I've moved it here we go. Now we've got ABC Company. It says Team A. You see all of the job card details. And as you can see in this menu, you can see that the task is now attached to the specific job. And now I can choose, once I confirm that the client has uploaded all of their documents, I can go ahead and change the status. But hang on a minute. Let's see, what does the client see? Because they're supposed to receive an email. Guess what? Since that is tied to one of my emails, I get to show you what the client gets to see. So here you go. Because I am typed in as CG, my first name shows up as CG. So it says, hello, Carlos, we're starting a new month. Please provide your statements for September. And I had all those short codes pre-filled for me, and it's pretty easy. Now, of course, this is a very basic email. You can always get more custom if you want. let's talk about custom if you want to have really, really customized automations. So this is really, really advanced, but let's just say that for this particular client, I want to have an email that specifies their actual statements. So I'm going to go ahead and look for that monthly bookkeeping statement request template. And I'm actually just going to duplicate it. Now, this is a very, very advanced feature, and it's a lot of manual work to do so. But if you're interested in doing, you could. And I'm just going to show you how you would do it. First thing you want to do is make sure that you indicate which client you want to send this email to. In this case, it will be ABC Corp. The second thing you want to do is in this particular email, you want to indicate what are the statements that you are requesting, right? So let's say if they have a Chase credit card that ends in 4567, they might have a BOA, checking, ends in 1234, and they may have another, Wells Fargo credit card that ends in 9875. So now you can be very specific about what actual documents you want them to upload. And again, if you want to get even more detailed, you could say upload them to the portal. And you can even hyperlink your portal logo, your portal hyperlink. In this case, I'm just going to use mine. And there you have it. Now you've actually given them a very easy way for them to upload their documents. So now I save this email template. And now instead of me making it a generic email, now I can make it a very specific email for a very specific company. And so let me show you what you would do next. First step, what we did is we created an email that was going to be only focused on a company. So you need an individual template for the individual company. That's the first step. The second step is you actually have to create a tag. And in that tag, you want to make sure that you just indicate it as a specific type of tag. So let's call it monthly bookkeeping, short code, and you just put the company's name, right? ABC Corp. Now I've got a tag. Step 3 is I have to give that company that specific tag so that only that automation runs for that company. So in order for me to do that, I need to find the company. I would click on info. I would edit the company information, and in the tags, I would apply that tag. All right, now that we know that this tag has been applied, I'm going to go into workflow, and the only thing I'm going to modify is actually the automation. And in this case, rather than calling it bookkeeping statement request, I am actually going to say I want the ABC Corp email to be sent, but I only want it to be sent if it's tagged MOBK ABC Corp. So you could do this same, what's called a conditional automation, with the condition that the client is tagged as such and you have the specific template tied to the specific customer with their custom information. You could do this as well for a task. We won't do that now, but I wanted to give you a preview of how cool this specific feature allows you to customize your automations even more so. So let's actually run that automation this time along with that specific example. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this job, and we'll add it one more time. Job template's going to be Team A. And so check this out. Now this email says, because it's tagged MOBK ABC Corp, we're going to send them the MOBK ABC Corp. Now, if you check this out, if I pick another company, I'm just going to pick my demo account. You will notice that because my demo account is not tagged, then that email will not be sent. So that's a really nice feature for a very specific type of automation that you want to have for a specific custom type of client. All right, so we're moving it one more time, and let's check out what it would look like from the client's point of view if they got this email. So now you could see it's a lot more customized to the client. So I think that's a really wonderful feature. If you have questions about that, drop it in the comments or send me an email, and I'm happy to help you walk with that. So that is how you build some automations with your templates. I won't go over the entire pipeline, but I want to give you enough of a preview for you to start testing and playing around with how to do a bookkeeping pipeline. Other automations you can add. You can automatically upload account tags either at the beginning or in the middle or at any stage that you want. Why would you want to update account tags? Well, this actually happens better in a tax workflow, but it could also work inside of your bookkeeping workflow. One of my favorite automations of how to update tags is towards the end. If you have a new customer going in through the pipeline for the first time, at the end, you can actually change the tag just to make sure that they are no longer, if you, let's say, have them as a new customer, obviously you'd have to pre-tag them before adding them in there, but you can update the tag to say, I want to remove new client and I want to automatically add it as a returning client at the end of that cycle. Just so that if you create any automations that are specific to new clients, that doesn't apply to them anymore because they are now a returning client. And if you want to have specific automations running for returning clients, you could do it just like the example we did with this custom email automation. What are some other automations you can add? You can create a specific folder template. So what does that allow you to do is if you want to have a folder template that are, let's say, is more focused on, let's create a folder and we're going to call it, Bookkeeping 2023. So in this Bookkeeping 2023, you can create new folders, and let's just say 01 January, 02 Feb. So now you can actually have all the reporting a lot more organized for the client. I won't go through the whole folder structure, but you get the idea. If you go through the 12 months, you can have that. And you could just say MOBK 2023. There's your new folder structure. So now what you could do is you can actually default to say, I want to make sure that every client has this folder structure automatically added to the pipeline. And you could choose what stage you want that to happen. The good news is that if you can make this also as a condition for new clients. So if you want only new clients to get added as a structure, so only when they're tagged a new client, they will get it once. And then at the end, that tag is going to be removed anyway, so they won't have that folder structure happen. So as you can see, these automations get even more and more advanced as you get more into it. You can also create an organizer if you want the client to give you, fill out a specific bookkeeping type of organizer. Maybe a payroll. If you have a payroll type of pipeline, you can do a payroll setup organizer. So that more of like an intake form. You can, for bookkeeping, you could also do internal message rather than email. If your clients, if you want to have them use the portal instead, which is secure, they can directly upload their statements. But if you have clients doing email, you could also do email. And then there are a couple of other things. If you want to update account access, you can choose which team members you want to give access to this specific type of client, especially if you're adding new clients. This is a good automation to run just to make sure that all your team members that are assigned to bookkeeping in this example have access to the client accounts. Another automation you could do is update who gets assigned to the job. So you just want to make sure, after a specific stage has been already taken care of. So let's say if, team member number 1 takes care of document collection, you can remove team member number 1 from the job assignee because they are no longer responsible for the job after they've done document collection. Maybe you have a more senior bookkeeper that does the data entry, and so you could update the job assignees there. And then lastly, which I really like, is add a wiki page. So let's say that you have a specific client that has very specific type of preferences in the way that they do their bookkeeping with you. So you can have a SOP, if you will, added into the process. And I'll show you what the wiki page does. Wiki page is just documented style of understanding of like which clients, maybe what statements they need. So if you don't want to do the custom automations, you can type your entire client list here. And this is internal, so the clients won't see this, only team members will. But you could have that as reference in the job itself. So what does that look like? Well, let's actually move the job here real quick so I could show you what it would look like. So basically it just adds onto the job, and when you click on it, it'll actually bring you the SOP. So again, this is really fast as possible, and hopefully as thorough as possible explanation of how you can build a bookkeeping workflow with automations. These are just basic ideas. If you're interested in wanting to go deep into this work and you need assistance with setup, feel free to email me, send me a note, drop a comment. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help. I do offer customized setups, automations, and workflows. And even if you've got something set up and maybe you just want to pick my brain on helping you optimize your existing workflow, I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Drop me a note and give me some feedback. What did you think of this video? Please share it with your fellow colleagues that are Taxdome fans. And in our next video, we'll go over a tax pipeline. So stay tuned. Talk to you soon.